friends. Thanks for coming in to see me. If you're here on the replay and have questions, you can send me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or on the blog, and I'd be happy to answer you and give you any extra help that you need. Good evening. Hello, ladies. Thanks for coming in. Hope your day's been going well. I did my assignment this morning, and I know that lots of you have been doing it too, because I've been getting lots of tags on Instagram, and it's been wonderful. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Tina. Thanks. So here we go. We are now on day 5. So for those of you that are joining maybe for the first time, my name is Lisa. I blog at CreativLEI.com, looking at life creatively, and you're watching live for the first time. Doodles and designs. Remind me of your first name. You haven't posted yours on Instagram yet? Yeah, I've really been enjoying that you guys are sharing so much, because I really like to peek through the feed and see how you guys are doing, and I'm really encouraged to read your notes as you're working through the exercises. It's been a blessing to me to read through your notes and to see what things you're realizing as you work through the exercises. This has been a lot of fun for me. I'm excited because it looks like it's fun for you. Do not be embarrassed to post. Like I said from the very beginning, I was starting very slow and back at the very basics. And if you have not taken a penmanship course in years, this will be a challenge to go back to like just really paying attention to the shapes of each letter. Yeah, welcome to Periscope. This is definitely one of my favorite social media platforms right now. I like that it gives us a chance to chat very unedited and live. So if you have questions, you get to ask them right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for me to respond to a blog post or an email. And let's see. Hopefully, I think my battery is not plugged in. Let me just double check. Sorry, I don't want my battery to die while we're on this. My 10-year-old is going to be going through this too. She has not started her book yet. I think I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of her so that I can bring her through without too many questions from her. Thank you. This is my frizzy hair cover up. I am a curly girl, and when it's not the first day of curls, sometimes it's a little messy. And since we just got home last night, things were a little bit crazy getting settled back at home today. So I wanted to check in with you and see what you thought of the assignment for the day 5, refining your handwriting. Did anybody have any questions about how to go about it? I know I still have some you homeschools, so think it's good to have that work to do. Yes, I'm going to use this as their penmanship for my homeschoolers. And I know I saw some of you that were posting your samples. I was like, you're going to have a hard time finding flaws. You've got beautiful handwriting. There's quite a few of you that are hiding out there that really do have lovely penmanship. And so I'm excited to see how you grow with the creative lettering aspect of it also, because this is fun to me. You kept wanting to subconsciously mix script and print. That is one of my biggest habits. How do you release grip and relax? The more you do it, the more it will become a relaxed. I missed that very last comment. It's one of those things that as you build the discipline in it, your hands will relax. I felt the same way when I first started knitting and spinning, is that it was not relaxing to me. But over the course of time, even practicing 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, it got easier and easier. And now it's more of a mindless type thing. It doesn't take all my attention. It doesn't take me like kind of gripping at the yarn or the needles. I can just relax through it and enjoy the process. And hand lettering is very similar in that the more you do it, the more natural it comes to you. It's not that you have to be naturally gifted to begin with, but that the more you practice it, it becomes more muscle memory rather than forcing it. Oh, I'm sorry. The directions for all of this are up on my blog. If you look in my profile, my blog is, the URL is there, CreativLEI.com. We started with an introductory post. I think it was back on September 25th is when I talked about learning hand lettering and what tools and supplies that I would recommend to be used, and kind of got a little bit of feedback from you guys about some things that you would like to see. And then on September 30th went the introductory post, which has become the index post of the series, which lists our potential schedule with a few gaps in there that will be filled later on or rearranged as necessary. Like this past Sunday, we had a catch-up day to help all of those that were just joining us to catch up a little bit. We've got a few catch-up days, usually on Saturdays and Sundays, kind of worked into the schedule. So you can kind of take it easy. I don't want it to be that you're sitting trying to do this for a half hour or an hour, but it's about getting short amounts of practice daily, so that it will become a more comfortable routine. So the index post is there. It went up on September 29th, and these are all on the handcrafted category of my blog, and I have one of the posts in front of me. I have today's post in front of me, so I can look at that and kind of recap with you guys. And so then each day we've done another thing. We put our notebook together one day, and an affirmation page. We did a sample page, which is what was referred to in today's lesson. The sample page was one that I had you go ahead and write, without thinking and without overthinking it, just to jot things down, because we were trying to capture our natural handwriting. And so then what we did today, over the weekend, what we were doing were basic letter shapes, kind of looking at an alphabet and starting to notice that we've got horizontal lines, we've got curves, and we started to look at each of those pieces and practice those, and we did them in lines that kind of look like doodles, which I loved seeing your pages like that, because I hope that you guys saw that now when we get on later in the month, when we're doing quotes and things like that, you already know how to add doodled borders and line breaks and stuff, because you're going to go back to those rote exercises we were doing for the shapes. So it's kind of building on itself each day. And so then today what we did was we looked back at that first sample page that we did, and I asked you to take a pencil and to start looking at your writing analytically and to start to see, you don't usually doodle? Yeah, I definitely doodle. I doodle on the margins of my paper all the time, or if I find scrap paper around, I doodle, and I seem to doodle very geometric shapes, very repetitive. So those usually find their way into my work. So I asked you to take a pencil and to look critically at your natural handwriting and to start to see what things you've noticed now after you've done basic letter shapes. What of those things were you seeing lacking in your natural hand? And for me, like I saw, sometimes if I'm too fast, like my E's look like O's because I'm going so fast that I've got the circle, but you barely see the cross for closing up that E. And then because, like Tina was saying, mixing print and script, I do that a lot, but I was noticing that, I may know what I'm writing, but some of my letters, when I'm mixing print and script together, it actually looks like a totally different letter. Like where I have an R and a Y together, it looks like an N. Where I have an O and a U together, it looks like a cursive R. So trying to pay attention to that, because later on, when we're getting more creative with our handwriting, we're going to want to have true letter forms in there to work off of and to jump. That would be our jumping point. So let's see, I'm going to turn to my page, and I'm going to flip the camera, and I'll just show you. You've already seen the pictures on the blog, but I'll show you through the video also. The mix is very natural, and that's what, I've tried to communicate that to my children as we were doing penmanship earlier in elementary school. They did not enjoy it at all. And I was trying to tell them, yeah, I understand that, you're trying to do what's in the book and it doesn't really feel right. I said, but it's part of the foundation. And the more that you know these foundational pieces, the more your personality can come through in your handwriting. And so like that's why one of the things I had you guys write, or I wrote in my sample, was learn the rules so we can break them with flair. Because tomorrow we're going to break some of the rules. Like all the perfect forming that we were doing today, we're not going to do that tomorrow. We're going to get a little bit out of the box. You know, we're going to use the boxes as guidelines, but we're going to learn how to push those limits. Just a little bit, because it's those small variations that I use for interest in when I do lettering in my journaling Bible or when I do lettering pieces. So I'll flip the camera and I'll show you my workbook. And yeah, it's kind of like that with everything. The more you know the foundational rules, the more you have freedom to actually enjoy the process of what you're doing. Rush it because you take notes during church. Yeah, sometimes I do that too. But I find that if I doodle first, then I can more clearly think out the words that I'm going to letter in my notes, if that makes any sense at all. And it may be different for other people. I know if you've never doodled a Bible study, you need to check out Stone Soup for Five. Carrie Danker is the author of that blog, and she writes the Journal and Doodle Bible studies, and they are a fabulous introduction if you've never done a doodle Bible study. She does not tell you what to do or what to write, but she gives you good prompts for how to draw out the truths for yourself, and to find ways of making pictures that will help you remember what you've read. Sorry, my charger cord does not want to stay in, and I don't want the battery to die. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. All right, so I'm going to flip the camera and I'll show you my workbook. And if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. The name of that resource was Stone Soup for Five, is stonesoupfor5.com. It's Carrie Danker, and she writes the Journaling and Doodle Bible studies. Bible journaling. Stone Soup for Five is a blog. It's Carrie is the author, and she's just a fabulous resource for the journal and doodle studies. I have a link and a review for her Galatians study on my blog. If you search, it's all, I believe it's either in the handcrafted category or it's in the heart schooling category. But it's fairly recently. It was over the summer. Sorry. Okay, so here was my sample page, and like we've done in previous days, I'm dating it, I'm kind of giving it a title, and then I'm marking which pen I'm using. I use the Zig Millennium again. I think tomorrow I'm going to force myself to use a different pen, just so that you guys can see maybe slight variations. I've done different variation of the nib size, but yeah. So I told you to try and fill the whole square, because what that would do is help you to really pay attention to the form of the letter. And then for when you're doing the ascenders and the descenders, to go ahead and use the lines as your guide, because sometimes we've added our own natural slant. Whether you're a lefty or a righty, you probably have a slant to your writing. And so for today, we were trying to not do that our own personal slant, but to just get the proper form of the letter. And so that's what we did here. And then I've got just a couple sentences refining these letters, because you want to see how the different letters combine together. Because if you notice, like the T's is an ascending letter, but it doesn't need a whole nother space to start the E. And we'll talk more about letter spacing as we get further in with creative lettering, because that's all going to be part of that. But I'm sure that you've kind of noticed it as you were working today. It probably felt unnatural to leave more space, and there's a reason why, because it wouldn't have made sense. So there we go. And then on the next page, I've got my cursive, which for me, this was hard too, to just go back to very simple cursive, just like you learned in, 3rd grade through 5th grade. And so I did double letters because I was trying to pay attention to how I connected. And of course, everyone is going to have a slight variation to what they learned originally for cursive. And I was just trying to stay pretty basic and straight up and down and not a full slant or anything like that. So it's almost like the handwriting without tears version of cursive. And then I also combined other pairs of letters to see how I was bringing those together, since I noticed in my like here, I noticed I've got C and K running together, and I've got other letters that I don't close. So I wanted to see, yeah, there's no connection there, because this is, of course, a mix of print and cursive. So that's why I was trying to pair up different letters, ones that I commonly will be writing together. So just try, keep practicing. And then I wrote the same one. You can't make a cursive R. It's always the one you print. Yeah, I like to play with it. Now that I do brush lettering, the R is one of my favorites. And we'll get to brush lettering later in the month. But I don't mind the R. It's the capitals in the cursive that are more tricky, I think. Thank you. Well, my last name is Walters, so I get to play with W's a lot. And so then I wrote the same line that I did on the other side. I said, learn the rules so we can break them with flair. Except if you notice, and as soon as I wrote it, I realized it. I'm like, you know what? This is a good thing to point out, is that what looks good in print is not always going to look good in cursive. You know, doing all caps in print is often awesome for giving punch or creating a focus on a word. Capital S I always struggle with. Yeah, in cursive, and my capital S's usually look more like print S's. But if you notice, like the all capitals of the cursive, they don't look good together. It's not as punchy as the all caps in print. I just thought that that was kind of a good observation, because it's going to help us later on when we start combining letter styles for creative lettering. Capital cursive is not fun, says Carrie. I typically print capitals except for M, F, S, or A. Yeah, there is some that I still struggle with, and as we talk about different pens and different styles of lettering, I actually have a stack of lettering books that I've been pouring through to share bits and pieces with you guys, and that will come as we start to go into lettering forms outside of our natural handwriting, as we start to get more creative lettering. So if you have any questions about today's lesson, go ahead and put those in now, and hopefully I can get those answered for you. The other thing that I wanted to do was give you a peek at something that I worked on today. As many of you know, this past week or so, sorry, I'm going to plug my phone into my computer so that it doesn't die. There we go. My sand eraser I bought, it was either directly from Tumbo or from Jet Pens. I don't remember exactly, because I do order from both. But yeah, I have both the whole sand eraser, and then I have one that stays in my travel bag that is half sand eraser and half plastic eraser. Yeah, Jet Pens is awesome. Sorry, I'm looking for my eraser, and of course it's in a different pencil. My desk is a mess. You guys will laugh. Or maybe you won't. Okay, so this is the sand and rubber eraser. That's reverse for you? So this is the one that stays in my pencil bag, and then the full sand eraser stays on my desk. So I'm going to flip this around real quick just to show you what I've been working on. As I was saying, sorry, I get a little sidetracked. Over the past couple weeks, you guys have just been blessing me incredibly by following along on this journey. When I first set out to share the 31 days of lettering, I never expected to get the response that I have. but you guys have been joining me on Periscope and Instagram and subscribing to my blog. And I know that typically on Instagram, like as people's following goes up, they host a giveaway, and it's kind of a raffle or like a lottery. And I didn't want to do that because I wanted a way to thank those of you that are already here, to thank you all, not just give a chance to one person to win. So today I worked on 2 new art pieces that are going up on my blog between tonight and tomorrow as printables for you guys. So thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate this platform because it has really allowed me to be me in a way that on the blog alone I wasn't able to do. And so Periscope has given me that opportunity, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying getting to know all of you a little bit more across all the different platforms. So that's been fun for me. So I'm going to give you a peek at what's going up on the blog, and these will be free printables for you guys. Okay, so we have this one, and these are acrylics on watercolor paper. This one says, "Don't let the storm dull your hope," and this is sort of a mixed media piece. I collect vintage papers from thrift stores and things, so I did cut into my stash to make the umbrella. So I don't know, and since you guys are doing lettering, maybe you can appreciate the beauty of the cursive that is in here. This is a copperplate or Spencerian script, and it's gorgeous. So I really liked including that in there. And so this is done, acrylic paint is the background, and then this is an acrylic paint pen for the hope, and "Don't let the storm dull your" is done in the Tombow Mono Twin pen. Yeah, the vintage cursive always, it's mesmerizing to me because there's such a beautiful rhythm to it. I know when I first started learning calligraphy, like I didn't even want to know italic. I wanted to know copperplate. And my teacher was so hesitant to let me get started on that. So like I like to just love it and look at the beauty of it. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate it. So this has been scanned in. And then the other one is this one. It says, "Do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly." And this is from Micah 6, I believe it was. And so I've done this before as a painting on different colors with slightly different lettering. But now this one has been scanned in too, and this will be another print that's up on the blog. And this is definitely one of my favorite ones. I think I'll probably end up framing this for our homeschool room. And then what I did was they've been scanned in, and like this is one that's just off our regular inkjet printer at home. So I just wanted to make sure that it was going to print well for you guys. So that's like a printed copy. And for those of you that have traveler's journals, if you print this booklet style, you could certainly laminate it for a dashboard. So I was hoping that would work for you guys. And so I was testing those out. So there you have the little peek of what's coming. And that's just a thank you gift for everybody because, like I said, I didn't want just one person to win something. I wanted to be able to share something with all of you. Thank you. I feel like art is something that God has gifted me in, but any gift is to be used for ministry, and whether that is evangelical ministry or ministering to hurting hearts, I think all of us have a calling, and I've just been on a mission the past couple of years to really refine the vision for what God has for me, and I'm excited for the opportunities that He's allowing, and so I'm just looking for ways to return the blessing. So thank you. You ladies are just an incredible blessing to me. It's been so much fun to connect with you. I truly look forward to getting to chat with you in the evenings, and I like getting your messages. I know you guys have been extremely patient as I work through the glitches of the mail system, because I'm like brand new to doing daily newsletters and the daily feed and things like that, because I was a very sporadic blogger before. It's kind of like feast or famine when I write. And so committing to this series and then having all of you jump on board has been great accountability for me. But now I'm trying to work through and learn all the things with mail servers and stuff like that, and getting like the scheduled posts that I have. Sometimes they don't go live when I have them scheduled. And so it's all, back end stuff, and I'm working on it. But you guys have been incredibly patient, and I love getting the messages that say, hey, I haven't gotten my email yet, and I'm so looking forward to it. That's a blessing to me, because it kind of fuels me to keep going and make sure that I've got lots of attention paid, and I'm giving you clear instruction. That's something that will add value to the time that you're giving to me on the blog and here on Periscope, and even when you're browsing through Instagram. Just that when you devote your time to me, that you get value in return, and something that will turn around and hopefully bless your family also. And so that's all I have for you guys tonight, unless you have questions for me. Thank you. I'm glad that you are finding it valuable. So I'll give that as like a 2-minute warning if you have any questions. For those of you that joined late, my name is Lisa. I blog Looking at Life Creatively, and it's creatively.com. I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those good places as CreativLEI. If you are a fiber artist on Ravelry, I am Lee Marie there. I know we've got some of the Ravelry girls on here as well, which is awesome. I didn't even know there were planner groups on there. You're Bridget Ann. It's nice to meet you. And I am slowly learning some of the names as I see you guys more, and as I'm watching your work on Instagram. And there's a few of you that have posted on Facebook, which has been wonderful too. I do appreciate that. I'm trying to make sure that I answer your questions and comment on, Vicky has been posting on Facebook, and Nina did, and so did Christy, and it's been wonderful to get to scroll through your work as well. I enjoy peeking. Like in less than 2 weeks, it's a week and a half, I will be down at the Outer Banks for the 2-to-1 conference, the Titus 2-to-1 conference, and I'm so looking forward to seeing live some of the girls like Marcy and Amy and Wendy, and some of them that are working, and Donna is working through the lettering challenge also, and I'm going to get to see their work live and hopefully Periscope with them, especially since they're right-handed. So if those of you that are right-handed are stuck with certain lettering styles, I'll be able to do kind of like an face-to-face coaching with someone who's right-handed and get that worked out and show examples of that for you guys. So that's all I have for tonight. I'm going to finish my coffee and go relax with my husband. The conference is on the Outer Banks. It's in Kill Devil Hills this year. It's happening the week of October 16th and 17th. The location changes each year, and I know this year it's a different season. Previously it had been in the good night to you too, Amber. In previous years it had been in the spring, and this year it's in the fall, which I'm kind of glad. Stephanie, I thought, is on Instagram. I'm not certain of her username, though. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.